If World War III broke out tomorrow, your first thought might be about missiles, tanks, or headlines screaming chaos. But what if I told you the true danger won't come from above, but from within? Not from explosions, but from stress hormones quietly torching your immune system. Not from bombs, but from disrupted food supplies, contaminated air, and something even more sinister. Chronic fear, slowly killing your heart. Welcome back to Blood Sugar Blueprint, where we cut through the noise and talk about the threats no one else will. Today, we're not just talking about war. We're talking about the hidden war on your body. Because even if you're thousands of miles from the front lines, your health could still be caught in the crossfire. So hit that subscribe button and drop a comment if you've been feeling the tension lately. You're not alone, and this episode is for you. Let's begin with the most immediate danger: stress. In times of global crisis, your body doesn't wait for a siren. It reacts instantly. Cortisol floods your bloodstream. Adrenaline surges. Your heart pounds. Your sleep gone. Your digestion shut down. Your immune system suppressed. That's how a world conflict halfway across the planet can make you physically sick in your living room. And this isn't just theory. We've already seen it happen. During the Gulf War, studies showed increased heart attacks among civilians, not just soldiers. Mental stress alone caused deadly cardiovascular events in people who never left their homes. Why? Because your brain doesn't care if the threat is on your street or your screen. If it perceives danger, it pulls the emergency brake on your entire system. And here's the kicker. Chronic stress doesn't leave quietly. It sticks around. It raises your blood sugar, it wrecks your gut, it triggers inflammation in every corner of your body. If you're over 60, that's a one-way ticket to heart disease, diabetes complications, and cognitive decline. And when the news is wall-to-wall war coverage, your nervous system never gets a break.
But stress is just the beginning. Supply chain disruptions are already happening. If conflict escalates, especially across oil-rich regions, expect skyrocketing prices for everything. But most critically, medication, insulin, blood pressure drug, heart meds, even basic antibiotics. If those routes are blocked, what happens to millions of seniors who depend on daily prescriptions? That's not doomsday fiction. That's 1 weak link away from reality.
And think about food. Wheat exports from war-torn regions? Interrupted. Access to affordable fresh produce? Compromised. That means more processed food, more sodium, and less nutrition. A recipe for skyrocketing blood pressure and out-of-control blood sugar levels. Exactly what we don't need in a time of crisis. And we're just getting started. Now let's talk about your lungs. In modern warfare, we're not just dealing with bullets and bombs. We're talking drones, airstrikes, and chemical particulates that linger in the atmosphere. When air quality plummets in one part of the world, guess what? It doesn't just stay there. The jet stream can carry fine particulate matter thousands of miles. You may never hear an explosion, but your lungs might already be feeling the aftershock. During the Iraq conflict, even soldiers stationed miles from combat zones reported worsened respiratory health. And for civilians, especially older adults, airborne toxins led to spikes in asthma, bronchitis, and even stroke. If World War III becomes a reality, it won't just be the war zones breathing in danger. It'll be the rest of us too. And let's not forget, respiratory illness is already one of the top killers for people over 65. Now combine that with global unrest, blocked medical access, and environmental toxins, and you've got a dangerous formula for disaster. What's even scarier? These risks don't make headlines until it's too late. But maybe the most underreported health casualty in war? Your mind. There's something called vicarious trauma. It's what happens when you watch suffering every day, even if you're not living it yourself. And make no mistake, the human brain is terrible at telling the difference between a threat on screen and a threat in your backyard. Watching graphic war footage, reading constant doom scrolls, seeing terrifying maps and timelines, it puts your brain into survival mode. And here's the silent killer. When your brain enters survival mode for too long, it shuts down higher function. Memory fades, focus dissolves, depression takes over, anxiety tightens your chest, and soon, your brain starts to atrophy. That's not just mental fog, it's the early stages of cognitive decline. If you're already at risk for dementia or Alzheimer's, this kind of emotional overload can accelerate things. And if you're already dealing with chronic stress, adding a steady stream of war coverage is like pouring gasoline on a fire that's burning inside your mind. But we're not done. Let's say you do everything right. You eat clean, stay calm, limit your exposure. What happens if, God forbid, you do have a medical emergency during this kind of global tension? Hospital systems could become overwhelmed. Emergency services could be redirected. Critical medications could be backlogged or rationed. Medical devices? Shortages. Even blood donations drop during conflict. So surgeries get postponed, diagnoses get delayed, and lives quietly slip through the cracks. We saw it during COVID. We'll see it again during war. And unlike a pandemic, war rarely comes with a warning. It just starts. And when it does, it's not just the military casualties we need to worry about. It's the millions of everyday people who won't show up on the news, but whose health will deteriorate in the shadow of war. All right, let's switch gears, but don't let your guard down. If you've made it this far, you know the threats are real and they're already creeping in. But what can you actually do to protect your body, your mind, and your health in the face of global chaos? Let's start with your heart. In times of crisis, your cardiovascular system is usually the first to feel the pressure, literally. Stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline spike during uncertainty, and if you're over 60, your arteries may already be stiff, your blood pressure may already flirting with the danger zone. So here's a critical first move. Eliminate the silent triggers. Turn off push notifications for news apps. Yes, even the ones you think you need. When every ding is a potential panic attack, your heart starts living in a fight or flight loop. Replace that with one controlled check-in per day. Pick a reliable, balanced source. No doom scrolling, no late-night news binges, just one intentional, informed moment. Next, your breathing. If war kicks off and the skies start filling with toxins, or you're simply stressed to the edge, your lungs are going to suffer. You don't need a gas mask, but you do need to invest in indoor air quality. Here's the rule. If you can't control the world, control your room. HEPA filters, houseplants that purify, humidifiers to keep your airways moist. All of this adds up to protection. Even a simple mask during high smog days can cut your intake of microparticles by half. And that's a difference your lungs will thank you for. Now let's talk nutrition. Here's what history has shown us during wartime. The grocery stores change, the food quality drops, and seniors suffer the most. So while you still can, start building a smart pantry. Not a panic buy bunker, a smart pantry. Focus on heart-healthy, brain-protecting staples that last. Think canned salmon, sardines, walnuts, chia seeds, olive oil, turmeric, and plenty of shelf-stable veggies. Your goal? Anti-inflammatory foods that boost your immune system and fuel your brain. Because if things go south, your diet might be the only medicine you've got. And speaking of the brain, this one's personal. Fear has a way of eating away at our cognitive health, so you've got to fight it deliberately. That means unplugging for scheduled moments, creating rituals that restore sanity. Walks in the morning, journaling at night, FaceTiming your grandkids, playing chess, reading fiction, anything that reminds your brain. The world may be on fire, but this room is safe. Because that feeling of safety isn't just emotional, it's neurological. It rewires your brain to regulate hormones, slow inflammation, and actually reverse damage. And that's the secret most people won't tell you. You don't need to fix the world to stay healthy. You just need to shrink the battlefield. Let's dive into the battlefield that no one sees coming. The war inside your mind. During global conflict, emotional health takes a back seat, and for seniors, that's a silent epidemic. See, when the world becomes unpredictable, your brain starts to crave control. And when it can't find it, that turns into fear. Then isolation, then apathy. And those three, they're a toxic cocktail. Let's break it down. First, fear. Not the kind that screams, the kind that whispers. Is it safe to go to the store? Should I stock up on medication? What if I get cut off from my family? These questions loop in your mind and wear grooves in your emotional well-being. Over time, that fear calcifies into anxiety, and it starts to change your biology, raising cortisol, reducing sleep quality, weakening immunity. Second, isolation. In times of war or unrest, isolation doesn't just happen physically, it happens emotionally. You stop reaching out. Conversations become surface level. You shrink your world to your four walls. But human beings aren't wired to handle that. And if you're over 60, the risk isn't just loneliness, it's cognitive decline. Your brain needs social interaction like your body needs water.
Third,
Apathy, the scariest one of all. It creeps in quietly. You stop caring about your diet. Your walks get shorter. You skip that doctor's appointment. Apathy pretends to be peace, but it's really just surrender.
And in a health crisis, surrendering is how things spiral fast.
How do we fight back?
You take back your emotional agency. You can't stop the headlines, but you can stop them from writing your story.
Here's how.
start by building your own mental safety bunker. Not with bricks, but with boundaries.
Limit your news intake. Talk to people who bring you hope, not hysteria. Have routines that bring you joy. A cup of tea in the morning sun, 10 minutes of prayer or meditation, stretching to your favorite music. These are not luxuries. In a global crisis, they are lifelines.
Next, bring in connection armor. Call your old friends. Set up a weekly video chat with your family.
Join an online group or local walking club. Every interaction is a bulletproof vest against isolation.
And finally, choose purpose.
Fear shrinks the world, but purpose expands it. Whether it's growing a garden, mentoring someone younger, or even just learning a new recipe.
You're giving your mind a reason to wake up strong.
Because here's the truth. World War III may shake the planet, but it doesn't get to shake your identity. You're still here, still standing, and you have power. You're living through more than just a geopolitical crisis. You're living through an immune system assault that most people don't even realize is happening. Here's what happens behind the scenes. When the body perceives stress, especially chronic global scale stress like what we're seeing now, it shifts into survival mode. That's a good thing if you're running from danger, but when survival mode stays on too long, it burns through your resources like a wildfire. Let's talk about cortisol again. This is your body's main stress hormone. In short bursts, cortisol keeps you sharp, but when cortisol stays elevated for weeks or months, it starts to shut down systems it doesn't think you need. Digestion, suppressed. Sleep cycles, disrupted. And your immune system, slowed to a crawl. That's not just theoretical, it's measurable. Seniors under chronic stress show fewer white blood cells, more frequent infections, and slower wound healing. That means your body is less equipped to fight off anything, from the common cold to more serious illnesses. Even vaccines become less effective in a high-stress state. And if things get worse globally, say medication supply chains get delayed or hospital systems get overwhelmed, that weaker immunity becomes even more dangerous. So what do we do? Start with the foundation, nutrition. Stress eats up critical immune-supporting nutrients like vitamin C, zinc, and magnesium. If your diet is weak, your defenses are down. What foods help? Think color. Bright, vibrant vegetables, leafy greens, berries, garlic, citrus, mushrooms. These all contain compounds that support your immune response without stressing your gut. And hydration? Huge. Even mild dehydration suppresses immune function, and many seniors don't even feel thirsty until it's too late. Start your day with water, not coffee. Your cells will thank you. Now let's talk gut health, because 70% of your immune system lives in your gut. During times of war, people often reach for shelf-stable, ultra-processed foods, but that damages gut flora fast. You want fermented foods like sauerkraut, yogurt, kefir, and miso in your diet. If those aren't an option, consider a quality probiotic supplement. The goal is simple. Keep the army in your belly strong, because it's your first line of defense. Don't overlook movement either. Even light walking has been shown to increase immune cell circulation. You're not just moving your muscles, you're moving immune reinforcements throughout your bloodstream. So, Kami something immune. More when like rest Kami some immune, like rest Kami something immune. Try a 20-minute walk after lunch. It improves digestion, reduces cortisol, and enhances immunity all at once. Finally, you need to sleep like your life depends on it, because it might. Sleep is when your body performs its immune housekeeping. It finds damaged cells, clears out inflammation, and prepares to fight the next day's battles. If you're skimping on sleep because of worry or doom scrolling the news, you're cutting your body off at the knees. So World War III might affect global borders, but it should never control your biology. Let's talk about your heart. Because when chaos strikes the world, one of the first things to break inside the body, especially for seniors, is cardiovascular health. And most people never see it coming. If you undersleep as the world, here's the silent truth. Heart attacks don't wait for the bombs to drop. Go to 3 cardiovascular bodies. They come when stress becomes chronic, when sleep becomes broken, and when routines get disrupted by fear. In fact, following major world events, wars, terrorist attacks, even financial crises, hospitals report an increase in cardiac incidents, especially among older adults. Not from direct injury, but from prolonged stress. Sleep for the adults. Now, when the nervous system is in fight or flight mode for too long, it keeps blood pressure high, heart rate elevated, and arteries inflamed. Over time, this inflames the lining of your blood vessels and raises the risk of plaque rupture. That's what leads to heart attacks and strokes. Men nervøs world ether but rememia conclusion but dailies between, and it doesn't take a nuclear strike to make this happen. It's like the meaning is at work you really love and more clear, even watching the news every morning with your coffee can slowly deteriorate your cardiac resilience. Not because the news itself is wrong, but because your body doesn't know the difference between a mental stressor and a physical threat. It reacts to both the same way, with tension, adrenaline, and inflammation. That's why your morning routine is one of the most critical things you can protect. So instead of reaching for your phone and reading headlines before your feet hit the floor, try this.
Wake up, sit on the edge of your bed, and take 3 deep, slow breaths. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 6.
It sounds silly, but it's not. It tells your body you're safe, which lowers cortisol and starts your day in a heart-healthy state. Then, drink a glass of water before your first cup of coffee. Why? Because dehydration increases blood viscosity. That means your heart has to work harder to pump thicker blood, especially overnight when you've gone 6 to 8 hours without fluids. If you can, get morning sunlight on your face, just 5 minutes. Sunlight triggers a drop of melatonin and a rise in serotonin, which helps lower blood pressure and stabilize mood, both of which ease the strain on your heart. And move your body. You don't need to run laps. Even walking around your home, doing a few squats near the couch, or stretching for 10 minutes counts. When your muscles contract, they squeeze blood back toward the heart, helping circulation and reducing swelling in the legs, a common issue in seniors under stress. Here's something surprising. Loneliness is now considered as dangerous to the heart as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. In wartime or crisis, isolation increases. So call a friend, join a walking group, chat with someone online. Human connection isn't a luxury, it's a cardiovascular tool. Let's talk blood sugar. Now, I know what you're thinking. What does that have to do with war? But here's the reality. Your blood sugar levels are one of the first systems to go haywire during prolonged stress, and the effects can be devastating, especially for seniors. When your body senses danger, whether it's real or imagined, it releases a surge of hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones dump glucose into your bloodstream so you have the energy to run or fight. It's a survival mechanism from our caveman days. But if the danger never ends, if you're stuck in a state of constant anxiety from watching the news, worrying about your kids, or wondering whether your medications will stay in stock, your body keeps pumping out glucose. The result? Blood sugar spikes. Even if you're eating perfectly, walking daily, and avoiding sweets, stress alone can nudge you into pre-diabetes territory. And if you're already diabetic, those numbers can get dangerously high without any change in diet. This is why many seniors report feeling exhausted, foggy, or unusually thirsty during high-stress periods, even if they're not sick. These are blood sugar warning signs, and they can spiral quickly. Here's the kicker. Stress-induced blood sugar spikes often don't get caught right away. Your A1C might still look normal at your next checkup, but that doesn't mean you're safe. These silent, short-term surges can cause long-term damage, especially to the eyes, kidneys, and heart. Thoughtful. So, what can you do? First, track it. If you've got a glucose meter, check your numbers after moments of stress, after a scary news segment, a tense phone call, or even a poor night of sleep. You'll be shocked how quickly your blood sugar reflects your emotional state. Second, build stress breaks into your day. I'm not talking about bubble baths and yoga retreats. I mean simple, tactical resets. Step outside and look at the sky for 2 minutes. Laugh at a video. Do 10 jumping jacks. Breathe in for 4, out for 6. These aren't just mindfulness tricks. They're glucose regulators. Reassuring. Third, consider adding more magnesium to your routine. Magnesium is your body's chill pill. It helps lower cortisol, improve sleep, and reduce insulin resistance. Leafy greens, pumpkin seeds, or a simple magnesium glycinate supplement can make a world of difference. Calm. Finally, don't let fear run the show. Yes, the world feels unstable right now, but your body isn't powerless. You can reclaim control, one healthy moment at a time. Blood sugar isn't just about carbs, it's about cortisol, connection, and calm. Thoughtful. And speaking of calm, in our next section, we're going to address a rising issue no one's warning seniors about: sleep disruption. Because if you're waking up at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, heart pounding and mind racing, you're not just tired, you're under attack from a deeper biological problem that can sneak up during high-stress global moments. Let's fix that next. Sleep. It's supposed to be our escape, our reset, the place where our body heals, our mind recovers, and our heart slows down enough to remember it's not fighting a lion. But what happens when that escape is broken? What happens when every night you close your eyes, only to wake up 2 hours later sweaty, tense, wide-eyed, and you can't explain why? For millions of seniors, this isn't just insomnia, it's a biological response to perceived global danger. And whether or not a bomb is falling outside your window, your nervous system doesn't know the difference between the threat of war and the memory of one. Your brain, especially the older brain, is built for pattern recognition. It scans the news, the mood in the grocery store, the rising cost of gas, and suddenly it's piecing together a story. Something bad is coming. Be alert. So even when you lie down in a safe home, your body says, don't sleep too deeply. You need to be ready. The result? Fragmented sleep, increased heart rate, elevated blood pressure, and the worst part? Your body gets no time to clean house. See, deep sleep isn't just about dreaming. It's when your brain flushes out toxins, balances hormones, repairs tissue, and calms inflammation. Without it, your entire system begins to fray. So what can you do when the world is burning and your brain refuses to rest? Start here. Turn off the battlefield. The news isn't going anywhere, but your sanity might. If you're watching explosions, scrolling through war headlines, or doom reading Reddit after dinner, you're telling your amygdala, your fear center, to stay on high alert. That means no melatonin, no serotonin, and no deep sleep. Try a peace routine instead. 1 hour before bed, set a timer and begin a ritual. Warm drink, chamomile or golden milk. Phone on airplane mode, lights dimmed, and soft instrumental music, or a boring audiobook. No exceptions. Next, control your sleep environment. A cooler room, cool 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Blackout curtains and complete silence or white noise can help override your cortisol levels and signal the brain it's safe to shut down. Consider adding natural sleep aids, magnesium, tart cherry juice, glycine, or even L-theanine. They're not sedatives, they're calming agents that help your body remember what rest feels like. And finally, if the thoughts still won't stop, write them down. A simple notebook next to your bed is your emotional garbage bin. If it's in your head at 2 a.m., it doesn't belong there. Put it on paper. Your brain will thank you. Because here's the truth. You cannot fight tomorrow's problems without resting today. And if you don't protect your sleep during these global stress events, your heart, your memory, and your immune system will pay the price. Explaining. Next up, we'll explore the chain reaction between chronic stress and gut health, and how world instability could be the hidden reason behind your bloating, acid reflux, and sudden food sensitivities. Thoughtful. You might not think a war across the globe could mess with your digestion. Concerned. But if you've been feeling more bloated lately, noticing food sensitivities that weren't there before, or dealing with stubborn acid reflux no matter what you eat, emphatic, it's not just aging. Serious, it might be your body's reaction to global stress. Explaining. See, your gut isn't just a food processor. It's a second brain. And when your first brain starts sounding the alarm, whether from real danger or perceived, your gut starts to panic too. Explaining. Here's the science. When your body is under chronic stress, it activates the sympathetic nervous system, also known as fight or flight. This shifts blood away from your digestive organs and toward your muscles, heart, and brain. You're preparing for battle, not a buffet. Explaining. That means digestion slows, stomach acid production drops, and food starts fermenting in your gut instead of being broken down smoothly. The result? Gas, bloating, acid reflux, and even constipation. Ominous. But that's just the start. Explaining. Chronic stress also changes the actual makeup of your gut microbiome. That's the army of bacteria living inside your intestines that help regulate immunity, blood sugar, inflammation, and even mood. Explaining. When these bacteria are under siege, whether from poor sleep, elevated cortisol, or poor diet triggered by emotional eating, your gut becomes inflamed. That inflammation leaks into your bloodstream, triggering something scientists call leaky gut. Serious. Leaky gut allows toxins and undigested food particles to escape into your bloodstream. This can trigger autoimmune responses, joint pain, skin issues, and more severe food intolerances. And guess what? Many seniors chalk these symptoms up to just getting older, but they're often signs of internal stress overload. So how do you protect your gut in a world that feels like it's falling apart? Advising. Start by giving your gut what it needs to feel safe. That means fiber-rich foods like oats, chia seeds, and lentils to feed the good bacteria. Fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, and kefir to replenish beneficial strains. And anti-inflammatory heroes like turmeric, ginger, and wild blueberries to cool the fire inside. But most importantly, watch your media diet as closely as your food. Every anxious headline, every doomsday prediction, it sends a signal to your nervous system. Danger! And your gut listens. Encouraging. Instead, flood your system with calm. Practice deep belly breathing before meals. This shifts your nervous system from fight or flight to rest and digest. Just 5 slow breaths can make your body believe it's safe again. Take daily walks. Movement gently massages your digestive organs, helps reduce cortisol, and gives your gut the signal that all is well. And maybe most important of all, laugh. Watch something funny. Call the goofy grandkid. Play a silly game. Joy is not a luxury during dark times. It's medicine. You know what really sneaks up on you? Not the bombs, not the breaking news. It's the slow, silent sabotage of your immune system. And most people won't notice until it's too late. Let's talk about cortisol. This hormone gets a bad rap, but it's actually your body's built-in survival tool. It rises when you're under stress to keep you alert, help regulate blood pressure, and manage your body's energy. But the problem? In times like these, when the news never slows down, when every headline screams crisis, your cortisol never gets the memo to shut off. And when it stays elevated for too long, it starts tearing your immune system apart from the inside. Think of cortisol like the military general yelling, "All hands on deck!" but never letting anyone rest. At first, your body fights harder, but over time, your immune troops get tired, confused, and worst of all, start attacking your own tissues. That's how autoimmune issues flare up. Conditions like rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, and thyroid problems can be triggered or worsened by prolonged stress and elevated cortisol. It also reduces your body's ability to create white blood cells, the very things that protect you from viruses, bacteria, and even cancer. So, in times of global unrest, when our bodies need immune strength more than ever, we're often running on empty without realizing it. And here's where it gets really personal. Seniors already have weaker immune systems, simply due to age. Your body doesn't bounce back like it used to. And if chronic stress is quietly degrading your internal defenses, you're not just vulnerable to COVID or the flu, you're vulnerable to everything. But don't panic. This isn't about hiding in a bunker. This is about arming yourself differently. First, fight cortisol with routine. Your body craves predictability. Go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, even on weekends. This helps regulate cortisol levels and reinforces immune balance. Second, let's get real about sugar. You don't have to swear off birthday cake forever, but excess sugar suppresses your immune system for hours after consumption. And when you're already vulnerable, that downtime could be a dangerous window. Instead, fuel your immune cells with vitamin C from citrus fruits, zinc from pumpkin seeds, and selenium from Brazil nuts. These nutrients support your immune troops and reduce inflammation. But here's the best kept secret. Gratitude. No, seriously. Science shows that practicing daily gratitude, writing down 3 things you're thankful for, reduces cortisol, boosts antibody production, and even lowers blood pressure. The world may not change tomorrow, but how your body responds to it, that's still up to you.